Welcome back to 3 Zen Bobo here. Now I want to talk with you a little bit about professional military education, PME. And you can think of it along the lines of continuing education training that they require doctors and lawyers and pharmacists and whatnot to take. You had to have a continuing education program of some kind or another. And you were expected to get it if you wanted to get promoted. It was really clear and simple. The first course that we were expected to take or was offered was Squadron Officer School, SOS. The next was ACSC, Air Command and Staff College, and then the last in the chain was Air War College. Now, SOS was offered in either residence or correspondence. And it was I think maybe like a 90-day course or something like that if you attended in residence. Maybe not even that long. I wouldn't know. I didn't have the opportunity to attend in residence. And it was taught down at Maxwell Air Force Base in Alabama. Anyway, I once heard somebody say off the cuff, a captain without SOS was like a fish without a bicycle. And unfortunately, I took that a little bit too much to heart. I just, coming out of college with a 2.03, I was not the academic type. And but I was also a realist. I knew that if I didn't have this professional military education, my chances of getting promoted and upward mobility were almost nil. So anyway, I took SOS by correspondence and did fine. And then when it came time for ACSC, Air Command and Staff College, I was just on my way over to Southeast Asia. But I figured I could take that by correspondence while I was over in Southeast Asia. I mean, what else am I going to do with my off-duty time? And so I did. That's the way I completed ACSC. Now, I need to take a pause here. There was a secret handshake or secret squirrel committee or whatever. What it essentially was, and I don't know if it is today or not, maybe somebody can tell me. If you had not attended SOS in residence, your chances of going to ACSC, Air Command and Staff College in residence, were reduced significantly. And if you did not have SOS or ACSC in residence, you could kiss Air War College in residence goodbye. Didn't realize that, didn't know that. Don't know if it made a difference or not. I did fine. But I did not go to SOS in residence, nor did I go to ACSC in residence. And when it came time to take War College or sign up for War College, they offered it one of two ways. You could either do it by or three ways. You could do it by correspondence, or you could do it by seminar. And once you got promoted to 06, you were looked at for a candidate for residence. Well, I knew that wasn't going to happen because I didn't have the other two in residence. Okay, fine. So SOS and by correspondence went well. ACSC went well. I sent off my little tests every so often, and I passed the course, and I was fine with it, and I was moving right on up. Then the Lieutenant Colonel's Board met, and I did not have Air War College at that time, and I didn't have a master's degree at that time. But when the results came out, I made Lieutenant Colonel, and my boss, Colonel Nick Ardello, called me, and he was my squadron commander at the time, and he said, "Shut the door." So I said, "Oh, okay." So I shut the door, and he reached into the bottom drawer, pulled out a couple long necks, and he said, "All right." He says, "Real cute making Lieutenant Colonel without either Air War College or Air Command or a master's degree." He says, "Bob, what are we going to do with you now?" He says, "Your competition for a squadron is so tough. If you don't have those squares filled," he says, "we can't help you." I know, and I knew. So the next 18 months, I completed Air War College and got my master's degree. Now, let's come back to Air War College. I took it by seminar, and at the end of the seminar, they told you for the exit paper, we had two papers we had to write, a midterm and a paper at the end. And depending on when you came into the course, you come in either section 1 or section 2, depending on what part of the year you began. But on one of the courses, you had to write about the defense of NATO, or you could write about the defense of NATO. And then the third option you had was you could write about the defense of NATO. And I thought, what a crock of crap. Isn't the idea of Air War College to explore different ideas and so forth and different concepts in war fighting and whatnot? So, of course, I had to press to test it. I submitted a paper on building a missile field in the desert of Australia. Now, I had had that tour in Australia, and I knew that out in the middle of that country was just desert. There was nobody there. And my thought process was, we have these missile fields across northern tier. And that's the way it's set up on the chessboard. And the Soviets, that's the way they're going to attack. Well, hell, why not complicate their problem by putting a missile field in the deserts of Australia? Now that compounds their problem. They got to create a defense for missiles coming not only over the North Pole, but they also got to defend against missiles coming up their southern underbelly. I thought it was a brilliant idea. And I failed because you have to write on the defense of Europe, of NATO. And of course, my immediate thought was, hey, look, we haven't won a war in X amount of years. We got our asses kicked in Vietnam. We got kicked here. We got kicked there. The simple solution is to hire the Israelis to defend Europe and be done with it. I had a bad attitude. So anyway, I flunked the damn thing. And fortunately, a sponsor I had at the time, Ron Shamlin, called me in and said, all right, real cute. He said, I like the idea, but you got to write a paper on defending NATO. Okay. So he pulled some strings and was able to get hold of somebody over there at Air University. And the guy virtually said, okay, we'll call that a practice paper. If he can get a paper to me in the next 2 weeks, we'll look at it. And so I did, they did, and that's the way I passed Air War College. But in retrospect, I look back, coulda, shoulda, woulda. Oh yeah, there's things all of us would do different. You bet. SOS in residence? Yeah, I'd like to volunteer for that. Flying, that's not a big deal. But that course there, and the 3 months course, whatever it was, in Maxwell during the summer, that sounds grand to me. Okay, good deal. And then Air War College, Air Command and Staff, maybe that one at Fort Leavenworth. I have reservations about that because if I gotten anywhere, I didn't want to get anywhere near that place. No, I'm not. I don't want to do that. But Air War College, I'd like to be exchange student with the Naval War College out in Rhode Island. That would have been cool. I had actually visited the place once when my dad was on active duty. A friend of his was going to the Naval War College, and I was just so impressed with that. But be that as it may, my career took a fairly decent path the way it did, but I don't know. Today, I have a different perspective. I think age does that to us. I did enjoy the courses. I just didn't like being told I had to go. But today, if I have an opportunity to talk to a young officer, I'd certainly encourage them to try to attend in residence because of the networking and the opportunities afforded you while you're there that you don't necessarily get in correspondence. So that being said, this is Bobo. Base gear. Stop.